Your car might keep running after you swear you shut it off, all night, in the garage attached to your bedroom, filling your home with poison you cannot see, smell, or hear until you never wake up. It has already killed at least 28 people this way, in their own beds, and the car makers knew for years. They fixed it in their new models with a cheap part that costs almost nothing. But the millions of older cars in driveways, maybe yours, they left alone. So which 16 cars keep running after you walk away? And why did the people who could have saved you decide not to? Make sure you subscribe, because I started this channel for one reason, to share what dealerships and car makers don't want you to hear. With your support, I can keep making these videos. Now let's get into it. Let me explain exactly how this kills people, because once you understand it, you will never leave your garage the same way again. It comes down to two things that most modern cars combined without thinking about the consequences. The first is the keyless ignition, the push-button start. In an old car, you turned a physical key, and you took that key with you, and the car could not run without it. But in a keyless car, the engine does not need the key fob to keep running. It only needs it to start. So once the engine is going, you can take the fob, get out, walk 100 feet away into your house, and the engine keeps running as if nothing happened, because it has no idea you left. The second thing is that modern engines have gotten incredibly quiet. A well-built car idling in a garage makes almost no sound, and a hybrid can go completely silent when it switches to its battery, so there is no rumble, no vibration, nothing to tell you it is still alive. Put those two things together, a car that keeps running without the key, and an engine you cannot hear, and you get a machine that can sit in your attached garage all night, pumping out carbon monoxide while you sleep 20 feet away with no idea. That is the killer. And here are the 16 cars most likely to do it, counting down to the single most dangerous of them all. Number 16, the Ford Fusion, and the older Ford keyless cars in general. Ford eventually became one of the first to add a safety feature that shuts the engine off automatically after a stretch of idling if the key fob is not inside, but that fix only went into the newer cars. The millions of older Fords already out there, the common family sedans sitting in garages all over the country, do not have it. They will run until the tank is empty. A used car buyer in the Dallas area who picks up an older Fusion has no idea whether the car will protect him from his own honest mistake, and most of the time, it will not. And that is the pattern you are going to see over and over on this list. The company knew how to fix it, proved it by fixing the new ones, and then walked away from every older car already in someone's driveway. So the danger did not disappear. It just aged into the used market, into the hands of people who never got a warning and paid a lower price for a car that came with a hidden, silent flaw. Number 15, the Nissan Altima, one of the best-selling sedans in America for years, which means there are enormous numbers of them out there, and the keyless versions carry the same flaw. Millions of ordinary people bought this car as sensible, affordable transportation, never once being told that if they walked away without noticing the engine was on, it would keep running. Sheer numbers make this one dangerous, because when a car this common has the defect, the odds that someone, somewhere, makes the fatal mistake tonight go way up. Number 14, the Nissan Maxima. Nissan marketed this as its four-door sports car, its premium sedan, which means a quieter, more refined cabin and a more insulated engine. And that refinement is exactly what makes it more dangerous. The nicer and quieter the car, the less likely you are to notice it is still running. The Maxima gives you a smooth, hush driving experience, and that same hush is what can let it idle unnoticed in a garage until the gas creeps into the house. Number 13, the Nissan Murano, a comfortable, quiet crossover built for exactly the kind of suburban family most likely to have an attached garage. That combination, a near-silent engine and a home where the garage shares a wall with the bedrooms, is the precise recipe this whole tragedy is built on. A quiet SUV that keeps running is not a small problem in a house like that. It is a slow leak of poison feed away from where the family sleeps. Number 12, the Honda Accord. Another of the best-selling cars in the history of the American road, which again means the danger is multiplied by how many of them exist. Honda built the Accord to be smooth and refined and quiet, the responsible choice for millions of families, and the keyless versions will keep running after you walk away just like the rest. When a car this beloved and this common carries the flaw, it is not a rare edge case. It is a mass market risk sitting in a huge share of American garages. Number 11, the Honda Pilot and the Odyssey. The family haulers, the three-row SUV and the minivan, the vehicles specifically bought by parents with kids, and, very often, a house with an attached garage. Think about who drives these. Busy parents, arms full of groceries and children, distracted, exactly the person most likely to hop out in a hurry and not notice the engine is still purring. These vehicles were built for the busiest, most distracted drivers on the road, and then given a system that punishes exactly that kind of distraction. Number 10. The Hyundai and Kia luxury models. As these brands moved upmarket with their nicer, more expensive sedans, they did what every automaker does at the top of the range. They made the cabins quieter and the engines more hushed. And once again, that refinement is the danger. A buyer who traded up to one of these premium models for the peace and quiet has no idea that the very silence they paid for is the thing that can let the car idle unnoticed. Luxury, in this specific way, is a liability. But before we get to the top of this list, understand something, because it changes how you should think about every car we have left. From here on, the danger gets worse for one specific reason: quietness. The remaining cars on this list are the quietest, most refined, most silent-running vehicles in the entire market, and in this one deadly situation, quiet is not a luxury, it is a death trap. The better a car is at hushing its engine, the better it is at killing you without a sound. Number 9. The BMW 3 Series and 5 Series. German engineering built these to isolate you from noise and vibration, to make the engine a distant, refined hum you barely notice even while driving. Now put that car in a garage. An engine you can barely hear at speed is an engine you absolutely cannot hear idling through a closed garage door. The same precision that makes a BMW feel special is the same precision that lets it run in silence all night while the poison builds. Number 8. The Mercedes-Benz E-Class and S-Class. If anything, these are even quieter than the BMWs, because Mercedes has spent decades perfecting the art of the silent, floating luxury cabin. The S-Class in particular is one of the most sound-isolated cars ever built, engineered so that the outside world simply disappears. That is a wonderful thing on the highway. It is a lethal thing in an attached garage, because a car designed to make its own engine vanish from your senses is a car that can idle undetected until the carbon monoxide has already filled your home. Number 7. The Cadillac keyless sedans. American luxury chasing the same goal as the Germans: the quiet, isolated, effortless cabin. Cadillac built these to feel serene and hushed, to pamper an older, affluent buyer, and that buyer profile is part of the danger, because these are often driven by exactly the people who grew up turning a physical key and never fully adjusted to a car that keeps running without one. A quiet luxury car, and a driver whose lifelong habit is that the car stops when you take the key, is a combination that has proven deadly again and again. Number 6. The Toyota Highlander. Now we enter the Toyota family, and this is where the numbers get truly alarming, because Toyota and its luxury brand Lexus account for nearly half of all the carbon monoxide deaths and injuries that have been identified. The Highlander is Toyota's popular family SUV. Quiet, comfortable, sold by the millions to exactly the suburban families with attached garages who are most at risk. It is a wonderful, reliable vehicle in almost every way, which is precisely why so many trusting families own one, and precisely why the flaw inside it has hurt so many of them. Number 5. The Toyota Camry. The single best-selling car in America for years on end, which means there are more of these on the road than almost anything else, and the keyless ones carry the same danger. Think about what that means statistically. When you take the flaw and multiply it by the most popular car in the country, you get an enormous population of vehicles capable of this, in garages in every neighborhood in America. The Camry is trusted, sensible, and everywhere, and that everywhere is exactly the problem. And here is the cruel irony of it. People buy a Camry precisely because it is safe, reliable, and unlikely to let them down. It is the responsible choice, the one you make when you want a car that just works and never scares you. So the very people driving this car are the ones who trust it the most, who assume a car this dependable would never harbor a hidden way to kill them. That trust is exactly what leaves them least on guard. The buyer of a flashy, temperamental sports car half expects it to misbehave. The Camry buyer has been given every reason to believe this car will simply take care of them, which is the exact mindset in which a person walks away without a second glance. Number 4. The Toyota Avalon. This one deserves special attention because of who buys it. The Avalon was Toyota's big, plush, quiet flagship sedan, and it was beloved by older drivers, retirees, the exact demographic that spent 50 years turning a key and is the most likely to forget that this car does not shut off on its own. Combine a large, hushed, comfortable sedan, an older driver with a lifetime of key-turning habits, and an attached garage on a quiet suburban street, and you have described the precise circumstances of far too many of these deaths. The Avalon sits high on this list not because it is a bad car, but because it quietly found its way to the most vulnerable owners. But the top 3 are the deadliest of all, and they share a single trait that turns the danger up to its absolute maximum. Because the next vehicles are not just quiet. Some of them are capable of running with no engine sound at all, and the brand behind them has been tied to more of these deaths than any other. This is where quiet stops being a figure of speech and becomes literal silence. Number 3. The Toyota Prius and hybrids like it. This is the silent killer in the truest sense, and here's why the hybrid is uniquely dangerous. A hybrid switches back and forth between its gas engine and its electric motor automatically. When it is running on the battery, the gas engine is completely off and the car is truly silent. But that gas engine can and will kick back on its own at any moment to recharge the battery, even while the car is just sitting there parked. So you can leave a hybrid in the garage believing it is off, and it may in fact be silent at that instant. And then minutes later, the gas engine quietly starts itself and begins pumping out carbon monoxide with no one there to hear a thing. It is the one car on this list that can start poisoning your home after you have already walked away and gone to bed. That is a nightmare no key-based car could ever produce. Picture it. You pull into the garage, the car is running on its battery, dead silent, so you climb out in total quiet, absolutely certain it is off, and you go inside and fall asleep. An hour later, in the dark, that gas engine wakes itself up to charge the battery and starts running, and there is no one awake to hear it, because the one moment you could have caught it, when you got out of the car, it was making no sound at all. The hybrid does not just fail to warn you, it actively hides, then strikes after you are gone. Number 2. The Lexus crossovers, like the RX. Lexus is Toyota's luxury division, and the RX is one of the best-selling luxury vehicles in America, which means huge numbers of them sit in exactly the upscale homes most likely to have attached garages. Lexus built its entire reputation on silence, on a cabin so quiet and so isolated that the engine seems to disappear. And that reputation, that obsessive engineering for quiet, is the exact reason the Lexus name appears in so many of these tragedies. When your whole brand is built on making the engine vanish from your awareness, you have also, without meaning to, built the perfect machine for idling unnoticed until it is too late. And that brings us to number 1, the Lexus luxury sedans, the ES and the LS. These are among the quietest, most sound-isolated cars ever sold to the public, engineered from the ground up so that the driver feels wrapped in total silence, so that the outside world and the engine itself simply cease to exist. In any other context, that is a triumph of engineering, the pinnacle of what a car can be. But in a garage attached to a home, it is the single most dangerous thing on this entire list, because a car this perfectly, completely silent gives you absolutely nothing, no sound, no vibration, no clue, to warn you that it is still running. Combine that flawless silence with a keyless system that keeps the engine alive after you leave, with the older models that have no automatic shutoff, and with the fact that Toyota and Lexus together account for nearly half of all these deaths, and you have the deadliest quiet on the road. Number 1, and the reason it is number 1 is the very thing the brand is most proud of. So here is the real story sitting underneath all 16 of these, the thing the automakers have known for years and quietly hoped you never would. This is not some freak accident or a string of careless owners. It is a predictable, preventable design flaw, and the companies understood it well enough that they went and fixed it in their new cars. Think about that. Many of them added an automatic shutoff, a simple feature that turns the engine off after a stretch of idling if the key fob is not inside. It costs almost nothing. It solves the entire problem. They put it in the new models, which is a quiet admission that they knew the danger was real all along. But they did nothing at all for the roughly 5 million older cars already out there without it. Those cars, and the families driving them, were simply left behind, still exposed to a defect the company had already figured out how to prevent. They fixed it going forward and abandoned everyone who already trusted them. That is the choice at the center of this. Not that the danger was unknown, but that solving it for the people already at risk was not worth the cost and the admission, so those people were left to find out the hard way, one silent garage at a time. And who does this kill, when it kills? It is almost always the most ordinary, most trusting, most careful people imaginable. It is the older driver who spent a lifetime turning a key and never fully rewired the habit for a button. It is the tired parent who walked in with a sleeping child in their arms and simply forgot. It is the family in a nice suburban home with the garage sharing a wall with the bedrooms, the exact home the quietest cars are sold into. It is people who did nothing reckless, who just made one small, human, momentary mistake, the kind everyone makes, and were killed for it in their sleep, in their own beds, by a car and a company they trusted completely. That is the cruelty of this particular danger. It does not punish recklessness. It punishes a single instant of ordinary human distraction, with the ultimate price, and it does it silently, without ever giving its victim a chance to notice and fix it. And think about the families left behind, because their grief comes with a particular kind of torment. There is often no dramatic accident to point to, no crash, no obvious cause. A loved one simply went to bed and did not wake up, and only later did anyone piece together that the car in the garage had been running the whole time. The survivors are left replaying that one small moment, the walk from the car to the door, and wondering how something so tiny and so human could have cost everything. And the hardest part is knowing it did not have to happen. The fix existed. The company had it. It was in the newer cars sitting on the same dealer lot. It just was not in theirs. That is a wound that does not close. The knowledge that a life was taken not by some unavoidable tragedy, but by a cost decision made in a boardroom far away, by people who chose not to protect the ones already driving. So what do you actually do about all of this tonight? A few things, and they can genuinely save your life and your family's. First, and this is the simplest and most important, get in the habit of physically confirming your car is off every single time. Look at the dash, listen, check that everything has gone dark, especially if you have a keyless car or a hybrid, and never trust the habit of just walking away. Second, if you have an attached garage, put a working carbon monoxide detector in your home, near the bedrooms and near the door to the garage, because that inexpensive little device is the one thing that will scream and wake you up when your senses cannot, and it is the single best protection against everything on this list. Third, if you drive an older keyless car, look up whether it has an automatic idle shutoff, and if it does not, treat that car with extra caution and consider that a real reason to be careful or to upgrade. And fourth, warn the people you love, especially older parents and anyone with a quiet car and an attached garage, because the whole reason this keeps happening is that people simply do not know it is possible. You are not being paranoid by checking. You are protecting your family from a danger the car makers already knew about and decided not to fix for you. The cars are only getting quieter, and millions of these older ones without a shutoff are still out there in garages tonight. Subscribe, and I will keep showing you exactly which vehicles carry these hidden dangers and how to protect your family, but do not wait for the next video. Go put a carbon monoxide detector near your bedrooms tonight.